Here is a dish I enjoy making once a year. These are the ingredients if you would like to jot them down, or they will also be listed below the video if you would like to print them. The ingredients should be enough to make one medium-sized casserole dish. I am making 2 dishes, so the measurements you see me using will not be the same as listed. I ate this for the first time when I visited Greece many years ago. It was on most of the restaurant menus, and I thought it was delicious, but I had no idea what I was eating. When I returned home, I quickly researched it on the internet, and I have been making it once a year ever since. Now, I've never made it the same way twice, and I actually got some new ideas from videos on YouTube. So I will leave links to those videos below this video if you would also like to check them out, okay? So I showed you in earlier videos how to make the fresh tomato sauce and the bechamel sauce. I will leave links at the end of this video if you missed them. You can also substitute canned whole tomatoes, but try to get some that are really good for sauce making, okay? Now, this dish is not the easiest thing to make, so I cook the onions the day before, and then I also make the tomato sauce the day before. But just to briefly recap, we'll add about 1/4 of the onion to the sauce. We'll grate in the garlic. We'll put in some pepper, salt, and cloves. Now, I'm toasting off the whole cloves because I didn't have any ground, and then I just went ahead and I ground those up. And then we'll add our cinnamon and some red wine. Now let it thicken a bit and add the fresh oregano. I go into all of this in more detail in the tomato sauce video, so I'm just kind of briefly touching on it for you here. So the next day, I like to prepare the dish, and so I peeled and thinly sliced the eggplant. Now you can leave the skin on if you like. I put them on a rack in a single layer, and then I salted both sides to draw out some of the moisture. I left them this way for probably about 30 minutes. So don't worry if your seeds begin to turn brown. This simply means they are exposed to oxygen and they are oxidizing. If that bothers you, it can be prevented by just dipping your slices in a little bit of lemon juice, which has been diluted with water, okay? Now, I coated the potatoes in olive oil and a good pinch of salt, and I'm planning on popping these vegetables on the grill because it's in the summertime. I don't like to heat up the kitchen too much if I can help it. So I individually wrapped each potato in some aluminum foil. You can also roast these vegetables in the oven if you don't grill outside. So I patted dry the eggplant, and I also coated them with some dried oregano, some olive oil, and some salt. And I grilled them until they were soft, and then I left the potatoes on a while I browned the meat. The pepper that you see there in the back, that's for another dish, so that's not going in here, just so you know. So I left the potatoes on the grill over indirect heat, and I covered them. Now you want your potatoes to be a little bit firm still, because we're still going to cook those in the oven with the other ingredients when we put everything together. So don't let them get too soft and mushy or anything. So now I want to go ahead and combine and make my meat sauce. So I added the remaining onion, the tomato sauce, and some salt to the meat, and then after a few minutes I went ahead and tasted for seasoning. I did need some more salt, so make sure you get that seasoned good. The potatoes were done, so I unwrapped them. I let them cool a little bit because I'll need to slice them, and then I went ahead and made the bechamel sauce, which I showed you in the other video. But to this one I want to add a couple of other things. So I went ahead and I separated the eggs, and I also grated some cheese. So I tempered the egg yolks because my sauce was really pretty warm, and doing this just warms up my eggs so they will incorporate nicely into the sauce. Okay, so we're just going to put a little sauce into the egg yolk and just kind of stir it around and warm up those eggs a little bit. Then I just slowly whisked my eggs into my bechamel sauce, and I added the cheese. I reserved just a little bit of the cheese so I could sprinkle some on the top towards the end. Now, I didn't want to waste the egg white, so this was one of the things I kind of did different this year. I added a little bit of the bechamel sauce and the meat sauce to the egg whites so I could add it to the center of the moussaka. This is not really traditional, but I just thought I would try it, so you can probably skip it. But I do think it helped hold and bind the vegetables together. So now we are almost there, I promise. I greased the dishes and added the potatoes on the bottom, and then I topped it with the egg white mixture and a little bit of parsley, and then I put the eggplant on there, and then I topped it with the meat sauce. And so now it's time to put the bechamel sauce on top. So I just spread it all the way out to the edges, and then I sprinkled it with the remaining cheese. So I baked it in the oven until nice and bubbly, and then when it came out, I let it cool off for at least an hour, because it will fall apart on you if you don't let it cool. But if you don't mind eating it where it's kind of falling apart, that's fine too. So, because it's really hard to resist. It's a really good dish to make. It's really good comfort food. It's a great way to use your garden vegetables. It is hard to make though, so it's not an easy thing to make. I'll go ahead and warn you on that one, but it's worth it once a year. So if you like the video, please feel free to head down there, give me a big thumbs up, and then you can head on over to subscribe if you haven't already. And please feel free to head on over to my channel, where I have some playlists of different kind of recipes. Most of all of these are seasonal. They come from the garden. Hopefully they'll give you some different ideas of ways that you can use things that might be coming out of your garden. So thanks so much for watching, and y'all have a beautiful day.